there was just a huge fire in the back, and then immediately right away, so me and my brother just started going door to door, knocking on all the neighbors' houses, because there's a lot of elderly people that live over here. So obviously our main concern was getting everyone out of here, and then ourselves too. So we just got all our cars, filled them up with as much stuff as we could, and we just left with our pets and stuff like that. Had to call my father-in-law too, because he has a ranch that's right here, right next to us too, with like 300 horses that are right there, and then he was right there trying to put out the fires as well too, trying to get all the horses evacuated and out of there as well.
And his ranch and livestock, everything okay there?
Yeah, everything's good. Luckily they were able to get everything out, and then the fire didn't really get too close to the ranch.
And you guys have done this before. You've evacuated in this area before, I understand.
Yeah. It was in like 2019, but it was like way worse. The winds were blowing way stronger, but more towards this direction. And I know that a couple of houses caught fire over here, but luckily it wasn't as bad this year. But yeah, still gotta, stay vigilant, be careful out here, especially with the high winds and stuff like that.
And then what now? I understand, you guys are still evacuated. Are you going to return home, although that's not advised by, fire officials? Where are you guys going now?
I think we're just going to wait till the air quality kind of dies down a little bit, and then try to see what the reports online say, or when it's safe to come back like that, because, the winds are still kind of blowing strong right now, so we don't want to be here, especially with the fire department and all that right here.
All right. Lupe, Val, thanks for talking to us. You guys stay safe. So a lot of these fire crews are still making their way through the area, so they're asking residents to leave. If you haven't already, keep these roads clear for these fire engines. As you can see, they're still going through some of these narrow streets. Now, we did see earlier there were several cars parked just under the 210 freeway right outside this community, and several residents said that they just parked their cars down there. They slept and, well, they just waited. They really couldn't get any sleep. Of course, watching the updates and seeing what the fire was doing as it crept very close to these homes here. So we'll keep an eye on things, but that is the latest as we continue to feel those wind gusts. In Sylmar, I'm Mario Ramirez. Back to you.
Yeah, and we're just getting some information that we didn't know, but Gigi was telling us that when she was covering this same location back in 2008, which was the Sayre fire, right? At the time, it was the worst loss of homes due to fire in the city's history, right?
So nearly 500 homes burned down in what was known also as the Sylmar fire. That was in November 2008.
So just an interesting perspective, and just we'll continue to basically compare and contrast, because obviously Los Angeles County has seen many fires throughout its history, but this one, as we've heard from experts, officials, Maria Samata, talk about just how different this one is in the way these erratic winds are behaving, and so unpredictable, which makes it all the more scary. I want to show you a look at the map of the Hearst fire where Mario is. A little over 500 acres have burned so far. Officials are warning that the worsening winds could spread, though, this fire much farther out. Smoke advisory in effect, and residents, of course, urged to stay indoors. If you're able to stay indoors, please do so. And if you have like an air purifier, too, it would be very useful to put that on as well.
That's right. And for anyone impacted by this Hearst fire, evacuation shelters have been set up. Those are located at Richie Valens Recreation Center on Laurel Canyon Boulevard in Pacoima, the Northridge Park Center also on Reseda Boulevard in Northridge, and Sepulveda Recreation Center on Kester Avenue in Panorama City. And for those with large animals like horses, many residents in that area do have those horses. You can take them to the Los Angeles Equestrian Center in Burbank.
Horse owners can also contact the Compton Cowboys for assistance. CEO and founder Randy Savvy is offering assistance, emergency assistance for evacuation of those types of animals who need to transport their horses to safety. He is getting a lot of messages right now from residents who do need his help, and he's actually joining us on the phone right now to get us some more information. Randy, thank you for being with us, and thank you for the service you're offering.
Hey guys, I appreciate being here. I am en route right now, taking a bunch of messages. I'm getting a bunch of back and forth. It looks like a lot of help is coming in though, so a lot of the runs that I'm getting started to go within like 5 or 10 minutes, people are saying, oh, trailers are getting there, those horses are cleared. So I'm happy to hear that, but I am still on the route. I'm still taking phone calls. I'm still in my rig, so I got a few things coming in, so we'll see what's up.
How many horses would you say are in need of a shelter or protection at this point? We're seeing video of a lot of owners of ranches evacuating their horses overnight.
There are thousands of horses in the Los Angeles and greater Los Angeles. People don't realize how widespread and how prominent the horse community is in LA, because we're not like a southern or one of those northern or midwestern states. People don't associate us with like farming and ranching, but in LA there are so many horse people, all different kinds. You got rancheros and vaqueros and charros from the Mexican community. You got black and white cowboys all over, even some natives. You got people that do hunter jumpers, all types of horses and all type of discipline and horse lovers all over the county. So I would definitely say thousands.
So what is the best way for people to contact you if they're in need of your services?
They can definitely text me to my phone number. Our number is 818-312-5936.
Okay, and we're showing your information
Again,
as well for Instagram and your website, but give us your number again.
818-312-5936.
Now, can you...
My name is Randy. And I have I'm pulling the big 6-horse polo trailer and the big rig, so I can fit some, if you got little ones, I could probably take about 8 of them. If you got big ones, really big ones, I could probably get about 5 of them in here, easy.
Okay. Randy, you're a local, obviously. We talked a little bit about how we compare and contrast of past fires to what we're seeing now. Can you talk a little bit about what your experience has been and how you would rate this fire and how severe and dire the situation is?
I'm sorry, say that for me one more time. I'm a little going through some bad service. Say that for me one more time.
No problem. Just your past experience in dealing with wildfires and fires and how this is different from past experiences.
Well, you know, like the fires have never. I mean, I always see them here in the valleys and they happen, but they seem to get contained pretty quickly. I haven't ever seen them be so profound and so widespread and so near to home and happen so fast. I'm getting a bunch of phone calls, guys. Though I got a bunch of people that are calling about rescue, so I might have to run really quick.
Okay, thank you so much, Randy, for everything you're doing with Compton Cowboys, helping out those owners of horses and going to rescue them as we speak. I know you're very busy, so thank you very much. And his information is right there. He's getting a ton of calls right now for people who need assistance. We'll check back in with you later on, Randy. Thank you so much. Now let's go to the East Eaton fire, which is doubling in size overnight. That's where Coco McAvoy is, and it's forced thousands of people to flee from their homes. This is near the Altadena, Pasadena area.
That's exactly where we are. We are near Altadena, near Murata Place right now, and the winds have been whipping out of control, and that makes this fire even more dangerous. The Eaton fire here, you can see homes are burned to the ground. The home you're looking at right now that is on fire, the homeowner came over to us to say, "This is my home," and he got a picture and then he ran as fast as he could because there's a lot of danger in this area with the downed power lines as well. Police have been on the loudspeakers telling people if you are in this area, you need to evacuate as soon as possible. But there are people who have been staying. Some people are trying to hose down their lawns. They're hosing down their roofs as well. They're just trying their best to save their homes. But fire crews are trying to tell people not to do that. But it's obviously a very devastating, very difficult situation for a lot of residents watching their homes burn to the ground. As we keep walking here, we're near East Sacramento Street as well. And you can just see the devastation. Homes burned to the ground. This power line right here is also down. There are several power lines down in this neighborhood as well, which is making it difficult for people as they're trying to evacuate. They have to kind of watch out for some of these power lines as well and kind of navigate that as well. So we have seen some people who have been sticking it out, now deciding they've got to go at this point. Again, we're on El Molino Avenue near Murata Place, walking towards another home here that is currently on fire. I had another resident ask me if any firefighters will be coming to the neighborhood. And the answer right now is no, because they are strapped. They're doing the very best they can trying to put out fires, but as soon as one sparks, another one does, because of all the embers that are flying in the area. We do know that 2 people so far have died in the Eden fire and several more injured. We don't know the exact number, but that's something that will be coming out in the next several days. Right now, what's at top of mind, especially for firefighters, is trying to save as many people as they can, trying to put out the fires as quickly as they can, while also dealing with the wind. I don't know if you can hear it in my live shot. The wind is really roaring, and that does not help with this active fire that's underway right now. So definitely a difficult situation as we continue to walk down El Molino. I can tell you we've spoken with a few residents at the end of this street who have decided to stay. They said that they just wanted to save their home, and one guy is trying to evacuate, but he, in the stress of it all, lost the keys to his car. So now he's scrambling, trying to find the keys to his car because he's got his car packed up, but he's unable to move it.
Wow.
So you could just imagine the stress that people are under.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because in a moment's panic, when you're rushing and running around,
Right.
you might have even packed those keys in one of your bags. You don't know. Maybe that's a reminder, too, when you're doing the Getty Set Go plan, right? And you're positioning your car in the driveway as you should be when you're told that it's a possibility you might have to evacuate, to perhaps even leave your keys in the car. I know that yesterday when so many people abandoned their vehicles in the middle of the road, right? One of the things was, hey, you guys, if you do this, leave your keys in the car. This is not a parking lot. Don't take your keys with you, because you're not even thinking at that moment. Coco, we're watching this individual, it looks like a gentleman, trying to hose down the surrounding property of his home. This is just, oh my gosh, it's making me very nervous.
Right. The wind's whipping around.
Yes, it made us very nervous as well. We've been speaking to him. We gave him some extra masks as well, because he's been using a towel over his face to try to, keep the smoke. There's a lot of smoke in the area too. That's another thing to worry about, but he's really just trying to save his home. So it kind of shows you the level of panic that people have out here, trying to save whatever they can. But it's easier said than done to just abandon your home, and I understand that, but fire crews are trying to tell people and to really evacuate the area and save yourself.
Right, not only evacuate while you can early on, but also they were urging people in the latest news conference this morning, which was just about an hour and a half ago, to not hose down your property and to conserve that water. Actually, turn off your gas, turn off your water, because fire officials do need those resources right now battling these blazes. And they were saying that this is unprecedented. They are calling in all personnel to help fight these fires. As you were mentioning, residents where you are, Coco, are wondering where the fire trucks are. But the fact is, the resources are spread so thin, they're calling on all available fire personnel to come in to try to help. And they say they have never been so short-staffed. And they even brought in personnel from up north, surrounding areas, because they were prepared for this big, severe wind event, but they didn't anticipate 4 major fires breaking out and the resources that they need today.
Yeah, they were saying, we were ready to fight 1, maybe 2, but 4 major fires like this, of this magnitude, we just weren't ready. They're saying it, quite honestly, it's just, this is something we've never experienced before. All right, we're saying,
exactly.
Is that the gentleman who found his keys, maybe, or that was a different vehicle?
That was a different vehicle that was honking at us. Someone that we spoke to earlier that clearly decided now to leave. But as you mentioned, there's a lot of frustration from residents to firefighters who feel like they don't have the resources to handle an event of this magnitude. And again, you just see this home just burning to the ground. There's lots of little explosions and embers as well. And again, these guys on top of this roof are still trying to save their home, but this is becoming more and more dangerous every minute.
Absolutely, Coco. This is so heartbreaking to watch and to listen to. Please stay safe. You and your crew, make sure you keep your masks on, your goggles on. It is a very dangerous situation with the winds whipping around right there. All right, let's go back to Gigi Graciette covering the Palisades fire. You are near PCH and the ocean. What's the scene now?
Well, we're on PCH. We're at Gladstone's. And just moments after we went live reporting there was a fire on this side of the restaurant, we were actually heading to the other side where firefighters were staged. Apparently somebody saw that live shot, reported it, and LA City Fire arrived here and have managed and are still working actually on putting this fire out. This is a trailer, a metal trailer, the ones you often see on tractor trailer trucks, but this one is here permanently. It was being used as a storage facility for the popular restaurant on Pacific Coast Highway. This was completely on fire. Everything inside, whatever was in there, has been destroyed. And actually, you might be able to make out that black smoke because it continues to burn in there, even though the flames have been put out. And then onto the left of that trailer is the garbage bin area of the restaurant. As far as we can see, the restaurant has not been affected, which of course is a good thing. Gladstone's has been here for decades. Most folks in Los Angeles have probably been here at one time or another. A very popular place for tourists, for locals to come and have seafood right on the beach. So LA City Fire to the rescue from Fire Station 238. We see them right here, or is that 238, I believe, and that is in Wilmington. So Wilmington, LA City Fire have now been able to put this fire, and they're going to be standing by for any possible hot spots. Part of the wall on the restaurant has also burnt, and we were talking about the fire actually jumping Pacific Coast Highway. I'm going to ask photographer Tony Butita, and I've been asking him things all day long. I'm going to ask you to turn around. I want to go up there. We're on Sunset and Pacific Coast Highway, and we're starting to see a black plume, and that just means that the fire has hit some fresh fuel, whether that's a home, whether that's a structure, whether that's vegetation, unclear, but that dark black smoke tells you that something is burning. You may be able to make out part of a structure that looks like it was burnt probably yesterday, but the fire not completely out, and we're just starting to see that loom up here. Pacific Coast Highway is gray. It is dark. It's as if it were 6 o'clock in the afternoon here because of all the smoke. That is the latest from Pacific Palisades and our continuing coverage of the Palisades fire. Very much out of control. And those winds, those wind gusts, we are continuing to feel them here in Pacific Palisades. We'll send it back to you.
And Gigi, I hear a little relief in your voice given the fact that Gladstone's has been saved at this point, but really, you know, you don't survey the damage of the smoke.
And we lost our signal.
Even if okay, Gigi's going to go and get connected, but, you know, you can say a structure has been saved because it hasn't caught on fire, but the smoke damage inside those homes, the furniture, some of all that can be totally totaled in a fire like this. So now we're looking at a map of this fire and some of the evacuation areas. The evacuation centers for the Palisades fire victims, let's tell you about those. So evacuees can go to the Westwood Recreation Center. This is on 1350 South Sepulveda Boulevard.
Another evacuation center open is the Dream Center in Los Angeles, so that's an option as well.
Yeah, and when it comes to livestock and larger animals, a separate evacuation center is open at Pierce College. That's at 6201 Winnetka Avenue in Woodland Hills, and smaller pets like cats and dogs can be taken to the LA County Animal Shelter. That's at 29525 Agora Road in Agora Hills.
Community buildings are also being destroyed in this fire. We were on the scene when we captured video. This is of the Palisades Branch Library being engulfed in flames. Look right there, right next to the library. The Corpus Christi School and Catholic Church reduced to basically metal outline. Oh, it's so tough to see that. So many memories there shared. All of it just turned into ashes. According to Gigi, overnight, a man was found, as she talked about a little bit ago, on Pacific Coast Highway, and the majority of the clothing that he was wearing had been basically burnt off of his body. And that's quite a visual if you think about that, right? In fact, at one point, they thought he was not clothed. He was naked because that's just how it appeared. He had serious burns. He was rushed to a burn center where doctors frantically working to try to save his life. And last we heard, he was in critical condition. So we don't know what came of all of that. And we did get an update a little bit ago that 2 people have lost their lives as a result of the fires. So we have no idea if he's one of those 2. Just a heartbreaking update there. LACD Fire says that there are multiple other burn patients hospitalized because of all of this.
And we do know for all those evacuees, Planet Fitness is actually opening all their locations and doors for people to come in, to shower, to power up their phones, to use their Wi-Fi. So that is an option for evacuees needing a place for a shower and some power. All right, this is the video of Palisades Fire from late last night. As we've been showing you, it's burned 5,000 acres. No sign of containment so far, and Chelsea Edwards was there overnight hours posting this video on social media, driving through the Palisades fire on her way back to the station. So you can see some of those houses burning and actually leveled to the ground. Let's listen to the video.
Wow.
Could just never imagine that something like this would happen.
Well, when you look at this, and imagine, you know, she's in it, right? Her photographer and her driving through this. You almost feel as though, is this really happening? Is this real life? Are we on a movie set? What in the world is this? There's also a video of our photographer, Gino, and our reporter, Christy Fajardo. They were driving near the Palisades fire. You see all the emergency vehicles, the smoke right in the air. So tough to even just make your way through the roadway there. There are emergency evacuations in place as they were trying to make their way down the road.
It just doesn't look like LA County. This seems like some, right, like you said, apocalyptic Armageddon from another planet. You know, this just does not look like home, and this is home for so many people. So here's again a map, a look at the Palisades fire. It started near Piedra Morada and Monte Hermoso drives. That's about 10:30 yesterday morning, and it has just exploded into this. And officials are warning of the worsening winds that could spread the fire further. As we know, we're not out of the woods yet in terms of those wind advisories, and smoke advisories are also in effect right now. Residents are urged to stay indoors.
Right, so we are getting updates throughout the morning, and there are evacuations underway for those 4 fires which are burning in the LA area. We spoke with the captain with the LA County Fire Department who had joined us earlier with a recommendation for people who are inside of those evacuation warning zones, and here's what was said.
Oh, I first off download that app, the Genesis app, please, so you are notified for your specific location. So you're in the know. They will text you and light up your phone to let you know that the warning is in place. Pay attention. It's like, hey, yes, they could get to us. Let's get some things packed up. Let's make a plan. Where would we go if we wanted to evacuate? Who do we need to call? Whose couch are we crossing on? Start making a plan.
Yep, start making a plan. You heard the captain mention the Genesis Protect app. So that is actually spelled G as in George, E-N-A-S-Y-S. G-E-N-A-S-Y-S, Protect. So get that app. It'll give you all the evacuation centers which are available near you, and it'll send you some real-time alerts if you need to evacuate. Also gives you the very latest information as far as those fires are concerned. Also another resource that we mentioned throughout, you know, not just right now, but throughout our newscasts. If you watch us regularly, the Fox Local app is also a great tool, which will get you information, up-to-date minute information as far as what is happening in your community. Nearly 24 Southern California school districts, of course, canceling classes today. We're going to go through some of these in alphabetical order. There are many. So all of these schools, Alhambra, Arcadia, Azusa, Baldwin Park, Burbank,
We're also talking about Duarte, El Monte, Glendale, La Cañada, and Los Virgenes schools as well.
Monrovia, Mountain View, Pasadena, Rosemead, and San Marino.
And of course, Santa Monica and Malibu Unified School District, South Pasadena, Temple City, and Valle Lindo School Districts, they're all closed today. So students should not report to campus. And of course, wherever you are, just monitor the air quality. Even in Orange County, some unhealthy air quality alerts have been going out depending on your sensitivity. So that's another thing to remind kids about playing outside, perhaps keep all the activities indoors.
Yeah, absolutely. Colleges as well canceling classes. You have Caltech's campus on Pasadena, in Pasadena, that is closed for all non-essential operations, and all classes are canceled. You have Mount St. Mary's University at Chelan campus. It is closed today. Pasadena City College announcing that all classes will be online today. Santa Monica College's Malibu campus, no surprise here, will also be closed.
And 13 campuses in the LA Unified School District will be closed today, and those include Brentwood Magnet, Canyon Elementary School, Diego Rivera Learning Complex, Kenter Canyon Elementary, Charter Marquez Charter Elementary, and the Palisades Charter Elementary School, Palisades Elementary, and Paul Revere Charter Middle School, Topanga Elementary Charter, and University High School, as well as the Woodland Hills Academy. All of those schools closed today.
And those that aren't closed, of course, I'm sure many of these schools will not have recess, and lunch will be indoors. Also, you think about sports, right? You're not going to want to be out there. It's terrible out there. So, you know, last night, our reporter Matthew Seedorf, he was reporting from Palisades Charter High School, right like in the middle of all the destruction. Watch this.
Yeah, you can we're surrounded by flames, but keep hearing those loud bangs. Like, it just sounds like firecrackers just going off, bang, bang. Right now you can see the homes right near Palisades Charter High School. Several homes on fire, if not destroyed already. And then, Sam, if you want to point up to the light, just so people can see the smoke just blowing, just look how fast it's going. I mean, that's something you see. I've covered hurricanes on the coast. That's what you see with hurricanes and the rain, just all of that wind just blowing all this smoke. It's pretty remarkable to see. And Sam, if you want to walk with me outside the high school, we're going to look about towards the football field. Looks like there's a structure burning over there. And we talked about just being surrounded by flames, but it's just all around the football stadium. We saw the press box on fire, and we want to see, because we've seen the other side of the high school. We saw the other side of the high school with the flames on the baseball field and the field house, the locker rooms, and this is the main entrance to the school. And just see, we did see some fire here a little while ago, and I just want to get a quick look and show you guys kind of what we're seeing at the front of the school. Yeah, you can see the flames coming in from this direction, getting closer to the school. Just definitely a scary situation. I'll go ahead and send it back to you.
And that noise you were hearing was the alarm going off at the Palisades High School there as it was engulfed in flames. Again, 10% of LAUSD schools are closed today, which can affect the district's most vulnerable children. And Bob DeCastro caught up with an LAUSD board member on how kids are getting help today.
So closing schools is a really tough call and a high bar, especially given the disruption to kids' education in the last few years. We early this morning, based on our metrics for both the evacuation zone but also air quality, closed a number of schools. Once the school bell rang at 8, it's almost more disruptive to most of those school communities to then close and evacuate, especially given the roads. And so what we've told families is that there's a list of schools that's about a little over 100 that are closed. Others use your best judgment. Attendance will not count today. And then those others, and we know we have hundreds of thousands of kids who are at school for those reasons, childcare, meals. They'll be at school. After school programs will continue. We'll be indoors. We have air quality monitors, and we also want to extend the same grace to our employees as well. So it's a day where we're asking for patience, but we know that despite the conditions outside, many families rely on the schools. Drop your kids off, do what you need to do, pick them up when you need to. We'll continue to monitor and make a decision for tomorrow soon as well.
Bob also spoke with LA City Council member Tracy Park, and she got really emotional when she was asked if she was able to actually go out to the Palisades fire to survey her district.
I haven't seen it yet this morning. I was out in the field at the command post in Palisades until late last night. The hills look like a volcano. I have never seen anything like it. The speed at which the fire was moving was absolutely terrifying. We are just now getting our first glimpses at the scope of this devastation. I'm going to be heading back out to the Palisades now in a few minutes to get my own look at it, but I am absolutely heartbroken for my constituents on the west side.
And federal aid is on the way for local wildfire efforts. Governor Gavin Newsom says President Biden quickly approved funding after a text message request.
I saw firsthand the impact of these swirling winds and the embers and the number of structures that are destroyed. Not a few, many structures already destroyed, and the fact that people were still not evacuated, still did not heed the warning, were just coming down the canyon, is a reminder of how serious this moment is and how important it is you listen to these evacuation orders.
FEMA has granted federal assistance to help cover firefighting costs, and the White House says President Biden has been briefed and directed his team to stay in contact with state and local officials. High winds grounded President Biden's planned trip to the Coachella Valley, where he was set to announce 2 new national monuments honoring Native American tribes. And Mayor Karen Bass is urging residents to follow evacuation orders and avoid the Pacific Palisades area. Key roads, including parts of PCH and Topanga Canyon Boulevard, are closed. Firefighters with regional support are battling the flames as high winds make the situation dangerous, as we know. And officials stress the importance of staying informed through Notify LA and LA City fire updates.
Former LA mayoral candidate and real estate developer Rick Caruso criticizing the city's response to the windstorm and the fires. He says that officials should have been more prepared.
The real issue to me is twofold. We've had decades to go remove the brush in these hills that spreads so quickly. And the second is you've got to have water. And my understanding is the reservoir was not refilled in time and in a timely manner to keep the hydrants going. So that's a failure, whether on DWP's part or another city agency. But this is basic stuff. This isn't high science here. And it's all about leadership and management that we're seeing a failure of. And all of these residents are paying the ultimate price for that.
Caruso says that he plans to ask the tough questions to Mayor Bass and officials about what the city did to prepare for this. And in response to the comments you just heard, we are working with the LADWP. And with that, welcome. We're continuing our coverage to the 10 a.m. hour right now. I'm Roxy Carbadian. Thank you for being with us.
I'm Sandra Endo on this tough day as we continue to monitor 4 major fires in the Southland. Let's go to Maria with a check of what the forecast is looking like.
Yeah, the forecast is right on track. We talked about this yesterday and how the winds were just going to continue to howl. They were going to peak during this time period, and we're still in that time period where the winds are really strong. Some areas actually picked up in strength. Right now, as we take a wide look at the area, you can see the brightly colored contours, the reds, the pinks. That's where we're seeing some of the strongest winds. Parts of the Santa Monica Mountains, just below those mountains, including the Pacific Palisades area, we're talking about winds nearing 20 to 40 miles an hour, and you know those wind gusts are much stronger. Also quite strong up through portions of the high desert, portions of the Inland Empire in Orange County, 30 to 40 mile per hour winds near Santa Ana. So you know that those wind gusts are actually closer to the forecast that we had talked about today, anywhere from 60, even 70, 80 miles per hour. We've got a very tight pressure gradient that was happening yesterday and last night. We still have this spinning area of low pressure here that brought us the rain, actually, and the snow in the mountains yesterday morning. It is continuing to bring some instability across Baja and perhaps as far north as the eastern portion of San Diego and some of the mountain locations there. But sadly, sadly, it's too far south now to really impact us with any of that wet weather. However, high pressure is here. The gradients between these two systems are going to start to relax as we get to the afternoon and evening hours. But until then, we're still expecting these very strong gusts. Look at the future cast. This is what one of our computer models are showing. Look at all the brightly colored areas, the usual very wind-prone areas during these weather events, which, by the way, this weather event is an unusual one where all of the dynamics are in place to give us this extreme weather condition, extreme red flag warnings conditions with us here. As we put this into motion, starting with between now and 11 a.m., still very strong, 40, 50 mile per hour sustained, or rather gusts through parts of the Pacific Palisades. As we get to the latter part of the afternoon, things do start to weaken here. You can see still very gusty up in the high elevations, and then the winds start to shift, maybe move more out of the east, northeast versus north and northeast. So basically what it means is that some of these areas where the winds were a little lighter last night or this morning, it's going to get a little bit stronger. So we're still going to look at the fire danger through tomorrow, and it looks like another round of winds as we look ahead to next week. Just a heads up on that, okay? Until then, again, the fire danger is with us. Please be vigilant. Even if you are not near these fires, a fire can erupt and spread rapidly under these weather conditions. We've got red flag warnings all across SoCal, so the potential for fire growth is still with us. And of course, lots of hazards on the roads with these downed trees and power lines. I'll show you the rest of my forecast, the 7-day. We'll talk more about that in just a few moments. In the meantime, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Maria, thank you for the update on the winds. Of course, the erratic winds is the problem in all of this, and we continue to keep an eye on things in the Palisades, of course, towards Malibu and Santa Monica.
You can see those winds really pushing the smoke and flames to the west right now, and this is the situation in the Palisades area. More than 30,000 people under mandatory evacuation orders, and Gigi Graciette has been providing details all morning long. Gigi, what's the latest?
Just a short while ago, we were on PCH at Gladstone's as LA City firefighters put out a small fire that was threatening the restaurant. Now we're on Positano, right above where we were, and the damage, the devastation that we are seeing. This entire block on the beach side of the street has been taken out. You can see there what was once, no doubt, a beautiful home with a most amazing view, and you might be able, yeah, there is the view. Tony Butita is showing you right across the street from the ocean. And this is not the only house. You can see the American flag there continues to burn. We're going to show you a little bit. There are homes up and down the street. You can see on the left side up there, that structure most likely burnt yesterday, and behind it right now, we're seeing thick black smoke coming. So we believe another structure on another street is on fire. Photographer Tony Butita, careful. There is so much debris in the street here as these homes burn down. And we've been walking the street, and it is one home after another that is absolutely devastated. You can make out what is left of this home right here. Again, on the 17,000 block of Positano. This is right above Pacific Coast Highway. We count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least half a dozen homes that have burnt to the ground, and most of them are on the beach side of the street. They appear to have been burnt yesterday, and this most likely happened when that fire burnt here to Pacific Coast Highway and then jumped PCH and burnt a lot of.
Oh, we're losing Gigi's signal and her audio as she's walking around there. Obviously the signal and the communication is spotty right there, but we do appreciate her reports when she could come out to us. Hopefully we'll get her signal back.
Okay, we do want to tell you about the evacuation center that has been set up for fire victims. Evacuees can go to the Westwood Recreation Center. There you see the address, 1350 South Sepulveda Boulevard. Another evacuation center is open at the Dream Center in Los Angeles. Let's talk about the animals, though, right? When it comes to livestock and larger animals, a separate evacuation center is open at Pierce College. That's at 6201 Winnetka Avenue in Woodland Hills. LA County Animal Shelter is taking in the smaller animals, dogs, cats, that sort of thing. The address there is 29525 Agora Road in Aurora Hills.
All right, well, there's another fire we're keeping an eye on, of course, the Hearst fire roaring through the hillsides in Sylmar, fueled again by those strong winds and dry conditions.
Yeah, thousands of people have been ordered to evacuate their homes, and evacuation centers are open in Pacoima, Northridge, Panorama City. For more on this, let's join back in with Mario and see what's going on in Sylmar. Mario.
Roxy, Sandra, while we are still feeling those strong, sustained winds and really powerful gusts, we have an update. We are now seeing those air-dropping helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft, at least here in Sylmar, just above this activity. And you can see we've been watching the flames here making their way up the ridge here, and just behind the hillsides here, it continues to burn out of control. The Hearst fire initially reported at about 50 acres around 10 o'clock last night, and it quickly grew to 500 acres in just a few hours, driven by these high winds and dry vegetation. Now, this broke out near the 5 freeway where it meets the 14 and 210 freeways here in the San Fernando Valley. And we should mention several areas are still under mandatory evacuations, which means leave now, and they include residents along Balboa Boulevard, Filbert Street, Bridle Ridge Road, and Nicholas Drive. A little farther to the north, the area near Whitney Canyon Park has also been ordered to evacuate, and that's basically a large area north of the 210 freeway from Roxford Street. 3 evacuation shelters have been set up, but the main one, Richie Valens Rec Center on Laurel Canyon Boulevard in Pacoima. And there's also a lot of traffic in the area, and that's because the eastbound 210 freeway in Sylmar is closed, and the connector to the southbound 5 freeway also temporarily shut down due to the fire. I want to bring Jesse in. He's a resident here on Sycamore. Is that right?
Correct.
What was this like for you? You're back in the neighborhood, but you evacuated late last night.
It was scary. High winds last night. Where you sat up here, this is the 3rd big fire we've been through in this area. Not a notification from the government at all. We got notified by our neighbors. This is a real close-knit community. We look out for each other. And the neighbors drove around telling us of the fire. So we heeded the warning, we evacuated, and with the wind blowing towards the west, we felt safe enough to come back in this morning.
Now, that's interesting because we did hear from some residents this morning that said they were alerted on their phones, but others who said they weren't. And like you said, neighbors were knocking on each other's doors, trying to get everybody out safely. So maybe some inconsistency with that system in place. Now, walk me through this area here, just behind these hillsides. Okay. What does it look like? Because it's really hard to access this area.
It's all wildland up that way. We have a lot of wildlife, like the deer's right behind you right now running around. It's all wildland up here. Then once you get over the hill, you go into Santa Clarita. They have a nature preserve up there. And beyond that is a movie production area. But it's us. And then we got the commercials to the west of us. And then we have our community here. And a lovely place to live. We look out for each other. And we pay the price to live in nature. So this is their land.
And you mentioned that you had been through this before.
Correct.
Similar evacuations. How does this compare to some of the others?
A lot less scary. The Saddle Ridge fire from a few years back was a lot more intense and a lot faster moving. So that one was a lot more scary. This one, we were able to take our time and get out safely because the fire department was here real fast, and their engines were up here setting up while we took off, which wasn't the case last time.
Fortunately, no structures here, no injuries that we're aware of. Anything you want to say to the fire crews that have been out here?
Thank you guys for everything you do. It's a tireless job. It's a thankless job for the most part. We appreciate everything, and we appreciate what you, the media, do in keeping us notified. So thank you to our first responders and everybody out here helping each other.
All right. Thanks so much. We're just glad you're safe. So as you can see, some residents, although the evacuation orders, mandatory evacuations are still in place, some are returning to their neighborhoods to assess the damage and take a look at how close the flames got to these properties before they tapered off here early this morning. But it is still happening, that strong wind event, and those flames are still being carried a little farther north from our location here. Live in Sylmar, I'm Mario Ramirez. We'll send it back to you.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that a lot of people have been impacted by fires in the past. Residents who have dealt with this situation, that resident right there talking about the 2019 Saddle Ridge fire that burned 8,700 acres in the San Fernando Valley area. He said how fast moving it was. Compared to the Hearst fire, though, the Hearst fire right now holding at 500 acres as far as we know. But again, we'll get updated information and numbers throughout the day. So for anyone impacted by this Hearst fire, evacuation shelters are located, as Mario mentioned, at the Richie Valens Recreation Center. That's on Laurel Canyon Boulevard in Pacoima. We also have an evac center in Northridge Park on Reseda Boulevard in Northridge, and Sepulveda Recreation Center. That's at Kester Avenue in Panorama City. So with those with large animals like horses, you can take those animals to the Los Angeles Equestrian Center in Burbank.
Also, an update here, all Pasadena schools will be closed for the rest of the week. So all Pasadena schools will not be functioning. All right, let's move on to the Eaton fire, which has doubled in size overnight, really forcing thousands of people having to flee from their homes near Pasadena.
Coco is there live in Altadena with a closer look, and all suited up, Coco, because it's dangerous. You see those whipping winds around you.
It is really dangerous out here on the ground for the Eaton fire. We are now at Calaveras and Catherine, and you can see that the situation is still ongoing. I can tell you this home, 638 Calaveras, is engulfed in flames. The homes next door as well also engulfed. And the reason why I'm giving addresses is because I'm getting a lot of messages from people wondering about their homes and the condition of their homes. And some of these streets we're just simply not able to get to because they're impassable because of the fire here in Altadena. But as we walk this way, you can just see all of the fire that continues to burn on these homes. And we do know that 2,000 acres, more than 2,000 acres, are on fire right now. We also know at least 2 people have died and several more are injured from the Eaton fire. But something that I can tell you that we've been experiencing while out here is the whipping winds. The winds are still extremely strong, and we know that this fire started last evening, but we still have these winds that will be lasting through tomorrow evening. So that's the dangerous part. And some of these homes that are not on fire are still threatened because of the fact that the embers are flying as well. I don't know if you were able to hear that popping noise. There are lots of little explosions that are happening as well with all of the items that are burning. You can see now, obviously, a portion of that roof just caved in as this home continues to burn. And it's difficult to find people out here, which is a good thing because the LA County firefighters have been telling people to please evacuate this area. It's been very difficult for some people to leave their homes as I've been talking to them, but obviously the most important thing is to leave with your life. But it's got to be difficult for the residents to see their homes burned to the ground. I had several residents asking me if I could get firefighters to come to their homes, and obviously I can't do that because of the fact that they're doing the very best they can, and they are low on resources and also low on firefighters that can help fight these flames. This is 676 Calavera, and you can see that this home is burned to the ground as well. So a lot of devastation in this neighborhood here in Altadena from the Eaton fire, and we know the winds are continuing to whip. Firefighters are on specific streets trying to battle those flames. We also know that the Altadena Sheriff Station had to be evacuated because that was threatened by this fire as well. It's moving very quickly, and some people are sticking it out trying to save their home, but the majority have left the area for now.
All right, Coco, thank you. Stay safe there where you are. You can see Coco has that mask, the goggles on, of course, because the fire is so irritating to all of the senses. Maria, we're watching and waiting. You know, we talked about how the winds may back up a little bit, right? Help a little bit, provide some relief. But the way they're behaving, I don't know how much relief that's going to create.
You know, it's going to back down a little bit, just not soon enough. It's going to be a little bit later later today. And, you know, we talked about this yesterday. If you notice the smoke and the direction that it's flowing from that northeasterly direction towards the west and southwest, that's classic, the Santa Ana wind that we have been talking about, and that is going to continue. I did just update some of the peak wind gusts from early this morning. Fremont Canyon out towards Orange County, Santa Monica Mountains, 94-mile-per-hour wind gusts. You can imagine what that can do in terms of where these fires are and what it can do with those embers and spread it several miles downwind. Arrowhead Springs, 92 miles per hour. Magic Mountain Truck Trail up in the San Gabriel Mountains, 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts just early this morning. Rancho Cucamonga, 83-mile-per-hour